Hi YouTube, this is Matt McIntosh and I've been requested to put a video together on how to do some armor. So I'm going to do a quick example as to how you could go about making some armor pieces with this character. So to start off with, I tend to use the lasso tool, but for this example I'm just going to stick with its standard masking tool. And what I'm going to do is just press the control key and start drawing out the shape of the armor pieces that I want to create. Now, as you can see, I've got the mirror option available and I don't really want that, so I've just turned the symmetry off so I can work on one side. And the reason for that is that when I start trimming this piece of tooling down, I don't want it to be affected by both sides, because what will happen is it'll collapse it down to one element. Once you've got your mask laid out, go to your thickness under your extract tool, and what it'll do is it'll give you a preview as to how thick the actual object's going to be. When you're happy with that, click on accept, and what it'll do is it'll kick it into a subtool like so, and as you can see, that's actually masked, so you need to unmask that before you can start working on it. Now if I put the wireframe on, we can see that what it's done is it's created an edge that goes around the entire object, and that is its own polygroup. Now what I've got here is a kind of spindle bit in the middle of it, and that's because I've merged two subtools together, but it shouldn't affect it from actually working. So if I want to make that thicker, what I can do is hide the sections on one half of it so that everything else is one element. Invert that selection by pressing Ctrl and Shift and clicking somewhere on the screen, and then I could maybe use the move tool to actually give that some thickness. So if I unhide that, you can see much thicker now. So that you can control the way the armor sits on something, or you can make it bigger if you want. I'm now going to use the clip curve tool, so I'm using the Ctrl and Shift key to select that. And this is where the symmetry being turned off is useful. But before I start making any kind of changes to this, I've only got 164,000 polys. Now I want more than that, so I've divided the mesh, and what that means is that when I start using these clip curves, and anything on the grey side of the line is compressed down, if I press the control key, alt key when I'm working on it, it'll put a bend in it. Press it twice in quick succession, it'll put an angular element, and if I press the space bar to move it around, you can line things up quite effectively. But by having that additional geometry in there, it allows for a much kind of smoother object when you've used your clip curves. So as you can see, got quite a nice effect there. So if I was to go around this mesh, trimming it off the way that I expect it to be, sitting on the character, you can get a really nice effect. And you might even want to bevel it, or trim it even further to make it look like it's overhanging, or just give it that kind of ridged effect around the side. And if you're trying to do that, you can line it up with the existing line and then use the spacebar to actually move it. Okay, so in conjunction with that, if you use the Hpolish tool, which is what I've got selected, and maybe turn the intensity down, what you can do is actually start to flatten the surfaces so that they're not as contoured as the rest of the body. So you can start to kind of build in a little bit more shape to it, give it a bit more of a harder edge if you need to. And as you can see, it's quite quick, as long as it's on a lower intensity setting, to actually start developing those kind of features. Now, if you're wanting to kind of work any detail into the surface of the armor, you could potentially use the masking tool, and some people tend to invert that mask and then use the move tool to actually pull out the surface like so. But I tend to find that a bit kind of cumbersome. So what you might find more useful is if I just Ctrl Z that, to actually use the mask to re-extract on top of your armor pieces. So you could put a pattern in there, and then when you extract it, okay, this one's a little bit thicker, I'll thin that off. When you extract it, you can build up surface detail as well, and that's its own subtool. So that's how you could potentially go about making some armor pieces. I hope that's of use. If you're liking the video, please like and subscribe to my channel and keep an eye out for future updates. Thanks for watching.